Hi guys, it's Katie with Begging for Balance. This is our regular Thursday live. We just tried starting and had some technical problems, so starting again. Hopefully Denise will be joining us in just a second. My friend Denise and I do these lives every Thursday. She's from Family Canine Training in Orlando, Florida. And normally we answer your dog training questions, and we still will tonight. If you have any questions specifically about your own dog, you can ask us. But we're going to be talking tonight about mostly business, so dog trainer related stuff. Let me see. She's still not here. Here she is. Hold on. Denise. Let's see how we do. Hello? We're good? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay. So, um, I don't know why my head is like cut off. Okay. So we wanted to talk more about business stuff tonight, to kind of help out, some dog trainers. We have a lot of trainers that watch our lives and sometimes ask questions. And I think it would be good to talk about more training stuff, business kind of related stuff. Um, I don't have like a strict, this is what we're going to talk about. But just kind of keeping in mind maybe for new and kind of upcoming trainers, I think, especially, but in general, everybody. I was thinking, like, are there things that you would want someone to have told you when you were first starting, or things that you think might help someone who's just getting into this industry?
I'll have to think about that and then see what I can come up with as far as because there's so much, but I don't remember if there's something that, oh, I wish somebody told me this or that. Um, I knew it was going to be difficult, and
Mhm.
since it's my first business, and I knew that going in, it was going to be hard, not easy, obviously. Um, but I think I followed the right people, even though I didn't have answers. I do know that the answers that I still needed were more on the confidence side of things. And I did follow the right people. I did get what I needed, and I knew some of those things were going to come with time. And embrace change. If you are going to start any business, embrace change. I'm a type of person that I like to change things. I like doing different things. So you never know if a year or so from now, I'll be doing this or something different or something similar in a different way. I like change. I embrace change. I may not want to change my cell phone every 2, 3 years. I don't embrace that kind of change, but I embrace change. Like embrace the changes that come with it. A recent one, obviously, COVID for 2020. I think we're lucky that we weren't, even though still consider the business being new, a few years still, but it was already there. So that kind of helped, along with COVID and, really didn't have any issues. You guys have social media. We all have social media now. And many people are going with virtual with stuff. So there's going to be a lot of virtual learning. You can, if that's something that you feel that you do good, and you can teach virtual learning if you don't feel comfortable with like the current health situation. Um, I don't know how and different people did it with their business. I just kind of played it by ear, and then, okay, if I need to, things were changed, obviously, but I didn't make any drastic um, changes. Am I rambling?
No, no, that makes complete sense. Definitely with the pandemic, I think that has made businesses in general adapt. Like you have to
Yeah.
learn to be adaptable and change things up and do things a little differently. And being able to do that makes you a good business owner. Like it helps you to survive when things aren't going the way that you expected them to. So
Yeah.
definitely, that kind of being able to adapt is helpful.
When things don't go okay, you learn.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. When I thought about this question just briefly before we started the live, I was like, oh, what kind of advice would I give new trainers and stuff? One thing that I would say is let your work speak for itself, not necessarily like I never badmouth other local trainers. I don't know them. Like I don't get to know like a lot of local trainers. I mean, I'm open to it if someone wanted to get to know me, but I don't need to know much about them at all. And I do have clients come to me that have been to other trainers and have like not succeeded. And I never talk bad about them. You won't hear me like bashing their, oh, that's terrible work. I've heard terrible things, or I don't need to do that. I just say, like, I'm really sorry that that's what you went through and that it didn't work for you. This is what I can offer you, and this is what I can help you with. And I just let my work speak for itself. So that has been really helpful because there's nothing worse than listening to somebody like bad mouthing somebody else. And there's a lot of that actually in this industry is, one trainer cutting down another or like criticizing everything about them. And I actually found in when I was new at this, looking for like mentors and stuff, I did not want mentors who talked a bunch of crap about other people. In fact, I went away from that. So if you had something really interesting to teach me, I was willing to listen. But then if a lot of your content and a lot of your what you were saying was just bad mouthing someone else's work, then to me that's not you putting in the work yourself. It's not uh you know it's just wasting time basically, and it's wasting the time of the people that are also listening to you. So I found that to be really just kind of like use that as a guide. You don't have to belittle anyone else to produce a good product and to be able to produce good work, and just do the best you can and it will speak for itself. So something definitely I think for new people to keep in mind.
Yeah, I would see the same thing online. So I think in the beginning, if you're looking for a lot of information to learn from, videos, different forums and stuff like that, you'll see it a lot more because that's where you're spending your time. Once you get some kind of a flow for yourself, disengage from that stuff, shut off notifications. Obviously, we're talking about social media because that's where, like, again, bulk of the learning is, unless you're attending seminars and stuff, and you can't possibly attend those every week or every day if you're actually working. Because there's some people that become like serial seminarists, attendees, that they're constantly attending, and then that's just, that's for I guess for a different day of maybe why somebody's doing that. They want to get all the learning that they can in, or they're not confident and they feel like they're missing something, or they're afraid of like missing something for their teaching plan, or there's a bunch of reasons. But you're gonna do the in this particular business, you're gonna do the bulk of the learning by actually doing it. So actually doing it mixed in with like your education and people that you go see and stuff like that. As far as newbies, and I hate that word because I feel like I'm still new. That's how I feel. Like burning out and tired and fatigue is like the number one thing. And if you're new, you tend to be really eager and you want to get clients in and you want to get anything in. And not only may you make choices of the wrong team to pick, and that's like both owner and dog, you can you can take them in. And we're talking specifically board and trains because we eat and sleep with work, which adds a little more to what I'm going to talk about. So what happens with that is you take in a whole bunch of, take in a whole bunch of work. They're staying with you. It's a board and train, and you take it and you take it and you're eager and you never give yourself any type of a break. And I mean, that's a given, but people don't do it. And I'm like, you've been in this game for a long time, longer than me, I know for a fact, and you're not doing that. And you will soon learn that your body requires it. If you don't live alone and you live with family, um, be aware that this is going to affect your family, and it's going to affect your personal life. It's going to affect your sleep, which does affect how you produce, how you work, how you function, obviously. That's a big factor, and I see that like a ton of the same thing. And um learn what your body needs. So there comes a time where I realize, okay, I can do 2 to 3 months straight full of work. For this particular instance, I need a week, I need 2 weeks. Excuse me. Like, and some people can go hard for a while and not need it, but are you pushing, or is it because you don't need it and you've got like energy to give around? So really, really, really be in tune with that. A lot of ladies like don't self-care, and I can say that for myself. Like, before, I would be like, this is so nice because I can, and I've worked from home for a long time too, even when I was nursing. So it would be like, oh, I don't have to get dressed or anything like that. But that actually gives you a psychological boost when you actually like get dressed. And I don't mean like I was doing stuff naked. I mean like getting dressed, like you're
Not
going
sitting in
somewhere,
your
fit,
pajamas.
fit for the day. Yes. And I even like, um it's just stuff like that gets you in that mindset to kind of like move forward, and you're going to be productive today and all that. Those little things like that are really important. So if you don't comb your hair or let it go and just tidy it up in a thing, and you don't make like an effort from it. So I've got exercise hair right now. It doesn't mean I didn't comb it earlier, but it's just like that's what it is. And you'll get really tired, you'll get resentful, and family may resent you. I am super lucky to have, support all around. And I'm just talking about like inside my house. It's I'm lucky. And some people don't have that, where they don't have extra help, or they don't have an extra hand, or even somebody who will support that, or support the noise, or like, I can't, dogs crying and stuff like that. If you're like, even if you're not rehabbing dogs, you're gonna get crying, you're gonna get woken up. So that stuff is important to consider. Like for me, even when I am doing like my extracurricular activities, I'm sorry, I don't want to talk about, like, I live and breathe work. So I don't want to, I am very helpful, and I don't want to come off as if I don't want to help someone. I'm very helpful for people, and I'm going to give you advice. But one, are you going to take it? And two, it's just kind of like one of those things, I'm here to turn it off, and that's my boundary. I want to turn it off. So my way of like, oh, you sound like you could use help with that. If you know what, can we set up a time where we can chat? Feel free to call me. Usually this is my process, but a phone call or something like that, or a separate occasion, and that kind of like sets the tone of like, I'm not gonna get into your behavioral issues. I'm gonna have to give you therapy. So that kind of thing, and I don't want to do it because I eat and breathe and sleep with work, and I give it my all, and during all those hours. So when I do have my me time, I like my me time, and I like it about.
That's like sort of compartmentalizing like work and then family time and other things, and so that you can focus on which you're doing at what particular time, so that you're not spreading yourself too thin.
Yes, I've been a culprit of it. And then it's like, where can I cut? And you start making cuts, just like when I don't know, if you had a budget for 2020, if you ever had a budget at all, and you're like, somebody lost their job or something, it's like, where can I cut? Even if you got to know how to do that, and do what works for you, and really like tune in into what works for you, because what works for me won't work for Katie, and down the line it just won't. And I think that's very important, because people get into like, oh, work, 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 and make money and get it while it's good kind of thing. No,
Yeah.
No good comes from that at all.
Right. I think then you end up with burnout. You can really end up with burnout. And if it's not, especially even if it's not just you working, if you end up taking on employees and if you're working too hard, too much, and not enough downtime, then everybody can burn out. So you can burn out, your employees can burn out, your family is going to burn out. And you can take time for yourself in different ways. Like some people do where they work like 3 weeks in a row and then they take a week off and they set that week for themselves to take time off. Some people do like the weekends. They don't train the dogs on the weekends, or they have one day of the week that they don't train, that they do, basically just like a walk or whatever, and not a whole lot going on. They're not actively training the dogs on one particular day, so that you can have like a downtime. And then other people just work for a while. They might work for a couple of months in a row and then take more than a week off, or whatever you need. It's like you said, everybody's going to have to figure that out differently. And then there are different things that can help too. Like if you're doing board and trains from your home, having the dogs in the house, in the actual house part of the building, can be more disruptive to you and your family if you have a garage or a separate bedroom in the house or something that you can put the kennel room in. That can be helpful too. So I don't have that. Like I have them in my dining room, basically the living room, and but we work through it, and my family is pretty understanding. Sometimes it's difficult. I'm not gonna lie. When the dogs are like waking up my son, and that's frustrating. But it's also like this is what we do. Like every family has different things, and every family, like some people, their parents, like I grew up, my mom was a nurse midwife, and so she had to deliver babies. And there were days of the week that she was on call to go to the hospital. If someone was in labor, she had to leave. So she had to leave at 3 in the morning or whatever. Or if it was during the day, we could be at one of like my basketball game, and she's like, "I'm sorry, I have to go. I have a patient in labor. I have to leave." And so families, whatever business you're in, you have there's going to be like some give and take, and you know entrepreneurs and business owners, they work hard, man, and the families have to, like, they know it's just part of the gig. So it doesn't mean that it shouldn't have downtime, family time, specific focus time for life outside of work. And so I think this is all good, really good stuff to,
Yeah.
cover with people too.
Some anxiety reducing things for you that also help reduce anxiety of your clients. You have to, they're leaving their dog somewhere. So be understanding, right? Be really, really, really understanding that they're leaving their dog with a total stranger. And yes, we were taught, hey, put out content so they get to know you. And this is like a lot easier process. And most of the time that works out great. But the anxiety is still going to be there. So when you schedule things for yourself and you give that client, be very, very specific and very clear on your plan. So for example, to reduce some of that anxiety, and I tell people this because what starts happening, and I have now, this wasn't always easy, I have boundaries, right? So what starts happening is social media is the way people connect, text messaging is the way people connect, and it's an instant satisfactory thing about like, oof, yes, I know he's fine, she's fine, or whatever. So what started happening was every little thing that I was doing was getting interrupted. Not only is it messy and everywhere on different platforms and different things, and that's not good if something happens to me. And what I mean by that is if like I die, I get into an accident, somebody needs to access information that's next in line to do that. And if it's everywhere, it's not going to be organized. So all these platforms are getting messages or getting worried owners, right? About like what their dog's doing, and usually the conversations like, oh, how's my baby, I'm very stressed out, that kind of thing. Understand that they are stressed, and then that may turn into a little bit of overwhelm for you, because maybe you want to hear, hey, what can I be doing to like what make their welcoming home a little bit better. You're never going to get questions like that. It's always going to be, it's always, most of the time it's going to come from an anxious place, just is, right? So what I do is I schedule everything. Once again, I schedule everything. You are going to get a phone call, so and so date. This is when I post things. If you want to do it 3 days a week, you can do it 3 days a week. 3 days a week, you will see this. And maybe I don't have a time because I also do have a hectic schedule, but this is when I will take care of you. So it takes that stress for you down, because I know you're going to be stressed. So at least this way, you know what's going on, and you know that no news is good news in a way, until that scheduled moment where you and I are supposed to connect, when you and I are going to have productive conversations about what's going on. Because if I allow all these types of messages on all these different platforms, we're never going to get any work done. And then everybody's going to get interrupted, and it's not fair. And I want to give you the most concise and precise answer for your situation and for your dog and stuff. So and that's something that I am very clear about. Like, communication is my thing. I want to talk to you. I want to, if you don't like to talk over the phone, if you want to email, I can do that. But I'm very big on the communication. And if you schedule it, it's going to be so much better for everyone, because it's like, it's more relief. Like, oh, I know that, I am supposed to get
Which that's
XYZ
so
on such and
interesting
such.
because we help the dogs by structuring their lives with the training, and it's just structuring for the client. Then it's the same
And for
thing,
you,
structuring, and for yourself
I don't
too.
want to get a
Just
text at 2 o'clock in the morning like I have
make it
before. I'm sorry to
predictable.
interrupt you. I don't want to get texts at 2 o'clock in the morning about panic. And well, how am I going to feel? And then I've got all these dogs, or you got all
Right.
these dogs to
Yeah.
train. I'm getting a text at 2 o'clock in the morning. Somebody
Yeah.
in pure upheaval and panic.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I generally don't text with the clients either. Once in a while, if it's just like they send me a text, asking a question or something, I will just say, you know, usually it's something that is more in depth. It's not a one word answer. And I will say, like, when can we schedule a call? Or, when would it be? Can I give you a call? Something like that, to talk on the phone or email or whatever. But yeah, setting boundaries too, and saying, like, look, this isn't the best way for me to communicate. It's much easier for me to communicate if you email me or, um, you know, call me, one or the other. Leave me a message. Let me know, like, when I can call you if it's something important. But yeah, and then knowing, like, this is what you can expect during the board and train, so that they don't have to have worry and questions and, like, I mean, I don't have a ton of calls with people usually while their dog is with me. I will post some things to social media, but I don't promise it either. I do say in an email, like, please be aware that don't expect to see a video for sure, or something. Like, if you don't see it, it could be that Facebook won't let me upload it because that's happened plenty of times when you try to upload something and then Facebook is just not cooperating and you can't get it posted up. So it could be anything like that. But yeah, just for them to, and listening is important too, like listening to the client. What are they saying? Like, sometimes they can be really worried and frantic or upset, and it's like, what's underneath that? Because it's not just that. Sometimes it's like, I'm really concerned because I don't know you personally, and
Yeah.
I haven't had much of a conversation with you yet, other than just like over the phone. And then meeting us in person, if it's really important to just be genuine, and it's hard when you're starting out because you're nervous. So it's, you want to be yourself, but you're also like, I'm just figuring things out. And like when you're new to it, it's really, that can be challenging because your nervousness can almost like cover up your real personality and who you are and stuff. So, but just being able to talk like you and I are talking right now, um, that's who we really are. Like that's us. This is the same, you know. And so when we meet the client, I'm sure that's how you talk to them too. Like, you know, it's you, it's Denise. And once they get to see you and know you and a few minutes of talking, and then they can sort of feel better about dropping their dog off. It's like taking your little kid to a daycare or something. You want to check out the daycare. Like, is this the right fit for me? Is this like, do I think this is going to be good for my dog? You know? And so, whatever we can do within reason and within our boundaries, you know, talking to you, explaining, answering questions, I think we're pretty willing to do that, like at the drop off or something like that, right? I mean,
Yeah.
if people have questions and stuff, but
Yeah.
that's you know, just be yourself as a trainer, whoever you are. Be you and be genuine, and don't get caught up in like trying to be a certain kind of way, like put on a certain kind of
Not gonna work.
professionalism or whatever, you know, like, because if you try to put that on, then it blocks your genuine, you know, your personality. It can block, like you can try to be being too proper, I guess, or whatever. Um,
I
and
thought you were gonna say show offy, and then I was like, yeah, that's not gonna work.
Yeah, I mean, that can be like, especially when you're first starting out, you're trying to be like, oh, I need to be real professional about this, and you're also kind of figuring out what what questions you want to ask the client, and make sure all you have all your kind of ducks in a row with what you're doing. And you're also you know, maybe learning about business ownership, because that's a new thing. Like when you're first starting out, there's a lot of when you own a business, there's a lot to it. We're not just training dogs, we're running a business and all that goes along with that, plus training the dog, plus communicating with clients. And, you know, so it's all, those are all things that you have to be working on. And so don't try to do it too like artificial. Be yourself, really. And you know, even if you're like, I'm fumbling, I'm kind of new at this, whatever, just be yourself. If you make a mistake, or you know, be honest about it. Be you know, just explain it and keep going.
Um, Something about the nervousness that I have for you. And ever since I started, I record all drop-offs, and I've always done this. The reason I've started recording the drop-offs is because I'm like, I want to remember everything. There's so much, you know what I mean? So
Hmm.
I would record it for that because I felt the stress. And it was at the time almost I mean, manageable, not, yes, manageable, but in sometimes like not. I can't explain what it is. Maybe it was just an intense team. Maybe I don't remember. But I remember, I don't remember why, I don't remember when, but it just started, something I started doing, and it probably comes from like the nursing mentality. If you don't record it, document it, it never happened kind of thing. I think that's where that came from. So I do record everything, and I'm clear about like, hey, this is not exploiting you on social media. I need this, I need this to, in case I missed something, and that's what it's for. In case you need to remember something, what did she say? Let's say when, let's say they booked their dog when they were a puppy, and now all of a sudden it's months later and they're not eating the same thing. What did she say the dog ate? If I didn't write it down in my notes or whatever the case, I missed it, I can replay that, and I'm like, okay, the dog eats 2 cups. I can, I have that information. And it's nice because when I address my homework. Another thing that you want to put time in is in the education. So part of that communication process and educating is like giving them something. So people learn in all different ways. Video, some people like reading, some people like a little bit of everything, and then obviously hands-on. And hopefully your hands-on program is as detailed as possible and really hands-on, because that's all that you're hitting all the different ways that somebody can learn.
Mhm.
So writing, giving a homework and writing that stuff out. Oh, since you know, the dog came in with this, you can refer to that video. Uh, Remember that situation what happened with Fluffy. So the homework addresses the place command to be like this and like this, and that's going to help Fluffy for that situation that we have, you know, we already talked about either in our like one of our conversations, or it's like very that it's helpful if you do that. And I've never had anybody like not agree. Plus you sign that there's a, you know, media, social media, blah, photography waiver type situation. But I give them the courtesy of like, I'm not gonna blast you on the internet if you're like crying or something's going on, like, you know, right,
Yeah.
common
Yeah.
sense, right? But I do, you know, people don't know you again, like Katie said. So you want to just give them that certainty, and that's usually when I cut clips of that is like the dog, something
Yeah,
about
like
the dog.
it can be
And
beneficial for the before
yeah,
part,
yeah,
like showing the dog's behavior before.
yeah, so have a courtesy with that. But I have always found that very helpful. And you know, realize other people do it too. It's wonderful, it's great. I still do it. I still do it. And it works really well. So it's gonna be helpful to you in a lot of different things. It'll help you choose like what education you're gonna give them, where they're what they're struggling with. It's all right there. So if you're nervous that you can't like focus really well, or you forgot or whatever, this is awesome, and I still do it to this day. And excuse me once again, I had dinner before this, like always, and I burp. um, so that's something that may be helpful. Maybe writing notes, but I mean that's also breaks you from like that connection and that listening stuff. So recording, you set it and forget it, and you can replay that later if you need something out of it. Trust me. So that you'll love it if you start doing it.
Cool. Um, I don't know. I don't really have that many other like topics or stuff to talk about with this.
Oh, I have more.
Well, yeah. What have you got? Because
Wait, out of
I
what we
know
were
we were
just
just
talking
kind of.
about, or like
Well, I mean, if there's more to talk about with that, we can. But if there's
oh
more
no.
other aspects of the business stuff that you know, that you would want to talk about.
Um, so with social media and stuff, and it goes back to what we were talking about in the beginning, like not talking bad about people and stuff like that. With social media, like watch your activity online, just really focus on the prize. And even if it's has nothing to do with someone, remember that your behavior online is going to show up everywhere. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So you want to be careful with what you engage in. If there's something that you don't disagree with, and you are, I mean, look at 2020, right? And the presidential election and all that. If there's something that you don't agree with, what you're saying can be exploited online along with everything else. So if you have a fear of social media, I mean, look at us. We've been doing these lives. We've been doing the well, we don't talk business before. We always talk about like the dog stuff with for people with their dogs. But we've been doing these for a few years now. And I remember when we
At
first
least
started.
3 years. Moose is
What?
3 years old. Moose is 3 years old.
So 5?
No, three. I mean, it must be more than three. It's close to
Yeah, it's 4-ish, I
probably
think.
4 years, 3.5, 4 years.
And we were like, oh my God. and it was nerve-wracking, and it was like I should go back and watch some of them, and no, I'll cringe. But then I don't know, I just remember it being like this big, okay.
Well, it was also helpful, I think, with us because I used to, like, I knew that doing live videos was good. It's a great way to engage with people and be able to answer questions and, like, for them to get to know you too, and decide if they like you as a trainer. And doing live videos on your own is kind of weird sometimes. I mean, I will do it. I don't have a problem doing it, but it's much more enjoyable if there's someone else, like we're talking back and forth. There's sort of like a volley, especially if you're sort of new to training. You may not have a lot of followers. You may not have a lot of people watching the videos live. We know because sometimes we don't have a lot of people watching while we do them, but we do have people that watch the replays and they tell us about it. They ask questions about something they saw in the video, or they tell us something that they saw in the video. And so we know it's beneficial and we really like doing them. It's much more fun doing them together, I think, than just turning it on and being like, hi, it's me here. And I'm going to talk to myself for an hour because, that gets kind of, not that you can't do it. I mean, if you're a new trainer and you're starting out and you want to do live videos, do it. Even if you sit on there and you're like, hey, I'm here to answer any questions, whatever, and nobody comes on, then just delete it after. Delete the video.
No,
You
don't
don't have,
delete it.
but if you didn't really talk about anything, like if you wanted
Oh,
to do a Q&A and you came on
oh,
and you were like, hey, I'm here to answer your questions, and nobody came on and nobody asked any questions, then just delete the video after. But you did it. You got on there. Like, you took a step that was brave because it's difficult in the beginning. I can remember, like, I didn't have a huge problem with it, but, you know, some people did with turning on a video, making a video of you training a dog and having to put it up there. It can be difficult because you tend to criticize yourself. Like, if you don't do something perfect or something, you see that. And so it's looking beyond that and looking more onto, like, I want to put myself out there so people can get to know me, can see what I can do, what I have to offer. So it may not be perfect. You may not be the best dog trainer that has ever lived, but you have some value that you can help provide for dog owners, and you can help them to learn to train their dogs. And then they can choose your program because they get to know you and they decide, hey, you're the right trainer for me. Because everybody has, I think in this industry, it's like everybody has sort of like a fit, somebody that they are kind of like drawn to train their dog. So if you looked up local trainers in your area, the chances are you would mostly see an ad of some kind. You might see some pictures of dogs. You might not even see a picture of the trainer or what they look like or anything. And then you might get a phone call with them, and then you drop your dog off there. And so for me, I look at it from my own point of view. Like, if I was dropping my dog off for training, what would I want? I would want to be able to see who is it that I'm leaving my dog with, who's going to be training the dog, what's it going to be like there, what is it like when the dog is being trained. So if you have videos that you can show, like, this is how I train the dogs, these are the tools I use, this is me, this is who I am, this is how I train, you know and then also online gives you a great opportunity for people to leave reviews and stuff for you. Some, like, Facebook has reviews, and I have turned them off. Not because I ran into a problem, but because I know other trainers that have run into major problems with Facebook can also have a lot of hate on there. There's a lot of like pure positive trainers that hate balanced training methods or tools, and they will come on, they will get like all their friends and come onto a trainer's page and write a bunch of bad reviews. And then you have a bunch of bad reviews. So that's why I turned off the Facebook reviews and I prefer other online reviews. But the online in general, if people want to see your reviews, they can see them. And I think that's where, again, your work speaks for itself. You do a good job, you work well with the clients, and the clients are going to tell other people what their experience was like, which is going to be helpful. So, um,
Excellent.
I'm sure you get a lot of referrals and stuff too. I've been getting a lot of referrals, more and more. The longer I do this, the more referrals I am seeming to get. Like a lot of clients from other clients that were happy. And so that makes me really, um, it lets me know I'm doing this right. I'm doing right by people and they're spreading the word for me. So that's good.
That's the goal, and it doesn't happen overnight. That takes time. So
Yep.
the more you do, the longer you do it, and yeah, don't expect to make everybody happy, because that's not going to happen. Also prepare for like when someone's not, but that's why you have, or you should have, a very good vetting process, and that includes communication, that includes questions, and however form you want to get those questions out, and have a vetting process of how ready that person is. And they're not going to be perfectly ready, but what you would do want to analyze is if they're willing, because when they're willing, you've got toys to play with. You've got the team on the same side. You guys are all the team. You're not the boss, know-it-all trainer who's there to make people feel bad. There's an art to like really like getting this show on the road, and kind of like this is the dynamic that you have. This is why this dog's doing these behaviors, and how do we fix that? We kind of work on your habits and stuff like that, and you go along with your teaching. That's what you're there for. It's not like, oh, you need to do this, and that's how you're running the show. It's not going to happen. You don't care about people, and that's when somebody else needs to do like the people work. Or you work for someone and they do the people work, and you work with dogs, and that's okay. If you just realizing that about yourself. Or, okay, I'm gonna fix this because I do give a crap. It's just like I have a really bad tactic. I'm gonna work on this, and I'm gonna fix it. So if you've got that willingness again, and that attitude towards it, you're gonna be good. You're gonna be real good. So we talked about like self-care a little bit, but never like what does that even mean besides like combing your hair and getting dressed and getting enough sleep, and stuff like that. Maybe it's something as simple as, I don't know, I to me it's like common sense, but I don't know if I knew this in the beginning. It's just like if you have a dog that might keep you up all night, work it late and drain it out, and until you don't need to do that, because our goal when we do our training is like, you don't need to be ran or have a walk in order for you to behave. But if that's what's going to get you through night number 1, 2, and 3, because you've got a real anxious dog, then go ahead and do that. So get creative with what earns you some peace of mind. And obviously you're going to do that in appropriate ways, but sometimes little things like that people don't know. It's like, oh, I didn't think of that. I didn't think of working the dog before bed or something like that. You know what I mean? So,
Mm-hmm.
stuff, little things like that. We can get so technical with it, but I mean, I'm sure we'll do. Do you think that the next live we probably should do the continuation of it? Because I think we're gonna probably need another hour or so, because there's so much. I mean, unless people ask questions, but I don't see that happening for this live today. We're already like, we're almost done. I didn't even see the time.
Yeah. Yeah, this is good. Yeah, I think we can do another one probably
Yeah.
if you have like specific things to, like aspects of this that you can think of. I'll try to
Yeah.
think of some
There's
too.
just so much, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
We're just
What we were
skimming.
just talking about with how you said, like, you may have people that are not happy with your service.
Mm-hmm.
Something really important with that is also to um, make sure that you align their expectations with reality too, because you can be overly optimistic and be like, oh, I can help every dog and I can do huge things because you're so optimistic that um, you're just starting out in this. And I think it's really important to keep in mind, especially new trainers, that there are degrees of issues with dogs and you can help them, but they're also, so much of it depends on their relationship with their owner. And you can, like, when it comes to rehab, especially. So, your basic dogs, if you're just teaching obedience and stuff, that can be challenging too sometimes. Some dogs, it's much more difficult to teach them than others. But if you're talking about rehab and stuff, it's really important to set up clear expectations with the owner that, like, look, your dog has a degree of whatever the problem is. I will do my best to put tons of work in and try to make big changes with your dog. That being said, I can't fix your dog. It's not going to come back like 100% perfect. Everything's fixed up and you never have to do anything again. You know, it's a whole process which depends on lots of things. And that's why, like we've talked about, um, making analogies and being able to talk in analogies with people is really important. And being able to, one thing with rehab dogs, a lot of times I talk about human rehab. Like, if you had a family member who had a drug or alcohol problem and went to a rehab, you wouldn't expect that that rehab was going to just cure them and they were going to come out and like go back right to their same house, and like everything was going to be exactly perfect and you could put the drugs or alcohol right in front of them and they would do excellent with it. You wouldn't expect that. And so the same goes with dogs. Like, you have to be realistic about expectations for them in the future. There may be some degree of management that may be required. Like, to me, that doesn't mean, and I've heard people say online, other trainers say that, like, rehab should be that the dog is like reset to its original, you know, setting,
It doesn't
that
work
they
like
don't
that.
have the issue anymore. Like, if they had dog aggression, that they could be around dogs and they would not have any issues. Well, good luck with that. Good luck with just turn them loose with a whole bunch of dogs and like they're going to be to me, that's just like saying that an alcoholic or someone with a drug addiction comes out of rehab and goes and you're able to put the drugs or alcohol like right in front of them. Why would you want to do that? Why would you, like, that's not a logical expectation for somebody like that. That's not, maybe over time they could be around those things, people drinking or using drugs or something, and not feel the desire to want to engage in that. But um, so and I'm kind of going off on
No,
a
no, no. You're
tangent
good.
again, but
No.
I think that it's something important to be able to talk to your clients about the realities of, like, look, we can help your dog to be able to be around dogs or people or whatever their problem was, whatever, we may get really far. They may be able to be around every dog again and be around every person and be fine with them, or they may still have some degree of issue that you know we can help you to be able to keep them safe, keep your family safe, things like that. But it just depends on, because every dog is an individual and we can't tell you before we train them, like, this is
Oh,
how they're going to come out and I'm going to be able to erase every every last bit of their anxiety, or, you know, that's not reality. Like, reality is I'll do the best I can to help your dog as much as I possibly can with everything I know. And I'll teach you everything I know to be able to help your dog. That's reality. Reality is being honest with them like that and saying, like, I'm willing to help you in the best way I know how, and this is what I can do for you. And some dogs make extreme progress, and they go home and they do fantastic in the future with their rehab stuff. And some dogs do great in the board and train, and they go home and they struggle because of an issue with a relationship issue with their person. And so we have no control of that. We can teach you as much as we can about how to live with your dog, but we can't change the relationship for you. We can't change, you know, we can't be there to make sure that you correct your dog when you need to, that you are, you know, following through every time you need to. We can't be there to do that. And so we have no, that isn't on us really. You know, we do the best we can, we teach you what we know, and then part of the stuff with your dogs being successful is up to the client. So that's like a wild card that we don't um
Yeah, you
we
don't live
can't
with them.
we can't predict it.
Yeah.
So someone might, you know, send their dog, and if they weren't clear on those, on the realities of rehab and how things work out and what is possible and what isn't, then they may have false expectations, and then they would be very unhappy with the service. And so then you could get a bad review from that too. Or if you drop the ball and you're not organized and communicating or something, and, you know, let's say, you know, the client has questions and you're not answering them, or you don't call them back, or you don't, you know, something like that could leave you and end up with a bad review. So try.
Terrible practice. Don't do that.
Right. You know, schedule your stuff, learn to be on time. Don't go to, like, if you do like private lessons or something, don't show up 45 minutes late to something like that. That's going to make an unhappy client. That's not going to be helpful, but um I'm just trying to think, like, I've had mostly happy people, I think. You know, check up on people, ask them, like, how are you doing? Do you have any more questions? Is there anything else I can help you with? Um, and we only have a few more minutes, but some trainers will do like guarantees on their training.
Oh, hell no.
That is not, just for the exact reason we just talked about, how the owner working with their dog, the outcome that they have between them, we have no control over. So if you
No.
guarantee that, like, the training is absolutely guaranteed, then they may not succeed, and then they may keep coming back to you and being like, look, you said that, you know, you guaranteed this, so you need to do it again. And you could put all the work in all day long, but if they're not putting their work in too, it's not going to work. So there's a difference between a guarantee and telling someone, if you need help in the future and you have questions, I will help you. If you need a ton of help in the future and you need, like, you know, more lessons or something, I mean, my programs generally have one extra lesson at any time in the future that they can use. If they need more training beyond that, there may be a charge for it if I need to come out to their house, but I will still help you. Like, I will still help you with whatever is going on with your dog. Something's, you know, falling apart, or you've got a new family member, you've introduced a new dog into your home and things are different, you know, contact me. I will help you. Um, Over the phone, like, I will talk to those clients without charging them necessarily. If it got excessive, if it was like really excessive and they wanted a lesson like every week over the phone, then I might charge. But generally, if you have done my board and train and you have questions or you need something, contact me and I'll help you. And that's different than guaranteeing that, like, yes, the training that I do is going to stick for the rest of your dog's life. I just don't,
Run.
I don't sign up for that. So,
No, it's just like me hearing from my therapist, Denise, I'm gonna fix you and all your daddy issues and your we're gonna run. You're not gonna be my therapist. You're not gonna. It's like that doesn't happen like that. Like sometimes we die and we didn't fix us. We just live the best way that we possibly can with the best intention and change and all that other crap. But it's just like nobody can guarantee anything. You have no control. And speaking of control, whether you've got employees or not, let go of the control, let go of the resentment, and let go of the anger. The client is never going to be you, and they're never going to get it just the way you want it. All you have to do is help them in an effective way to try to get from point A to point B, enough to see the light over here. Like if you freaking rock this, bless you. If
sorry.
you rock this, these are the possibilities. Whether it's a story about someone that just like bless you, like rocked it, something. This is the possibility. Show them what the possibilities are. You gotta work for it. Like this is a business life. You want that business to boom, whatever your boom is, because my boom and her boom and the other person's like version of success is different. Whatever that is for you, like let go of the anger, the resentment, the jealousy, and like and both, towards clients and towards like people around you that do the same thing or that are that have a business. It's just like focus on your stuff. Definitely focus on your stuff. And you got to remember, when you don't know something, you don't know. So it's like, oh, how can people not know this? Like, and it's just like, you don't know. That's why they're there. They don't know. Now if you're teaching this stuff and they refuse to know, that's a different story. That's like something else. You have something different that you have to target with that. But if they don't know, they don't know. And it's not your job to shame them. They don't know. Like, that bothers me so much. They don't freaking know.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll be continuing this because it's
Yes.
so much more.
Very good. This was awesome. I like talking about this.
I'm glad you do.
I hope you do too.
Oh yeah, well, I wouldn't be here right then. I'd be like, I'm not doing that, girl. Like anxiety. Katie would be like, you ain't talking about anxiety. I'm like, no, girl, I ain't
Nope.
doing that.
No, we're
Not
not. No,
today.
we're not gonna mention that. No mentioning any kind of separation anxiety. Nope.
No, that's exactly what I tell her. I'm
Nope.
like, nope. You want to do it? Go ahead. That's
Can't
exactly
talk
what I
about
tell
that. Once a year, you can talk about that. That's it. Not even once a year anymore. Jeez. Denise wants to help all of you with all of your anxiety dogs.
I am a magnet for it.
Well, we've talked about that too,
One
where
of you locals place a voodoo on me. Who is it?
whatever you show, that's actually something we can add for next week. What you show, you attract. So if you do videos of golden retrievers or some particular breed of dogs or whatever, you'll notice like you get a whole string of them because everybody who owns one will bring their dog to you. They'll be like, wow, look at that German Shepherd. That one's doing so great. And he had all the same problems that our Fluffy does. And so you'll get lots of those. So if you show lots of separation anxiety, you will get lots of separation anxiety, which doesn't produce much sleep in your house if you're a trainer. So be aware of what you're posting, I guess, right?
Yeah, people be like, what you mean you taking 2 weeks off? I have no idea, man. I have no idea. Yeah. That's when people ask me that. I'm like, depends on what kind of crew I just had. Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah. Sometimes it's just because I want to, and it's nice to be able to like, yeah, I want to do that. I got something to do. You mean you have that flexibility at the same time you do and you don't?
yeah,
There's some things I can't do because it's like I live and breathe work. And
yeah.
if you do have a dog like that, it's like, oh, I can't leave the house because this and this is gonna happen.
Hmm. Yeah.
So you prepare, you organize, and that stuff is very helpful when you figure exactly like, what you need out. You'll tweak along the way. You'll always be tweaking, you'll always be changing. God, if you're not, then something's not right. You're always going to be changing, tweaking, updating,
Hmm.
refreshing. That's good. Refreshing is good.
Yeah. Very good.
It's been a while.
Wow, you haven't done that in a long time.
No. Well, we got off Facebook for a while. We went over to Instagram, so
Right.
I was a little annoyed with that.
Yeah. I
I was
like
like,
Instagram, but it's just I mean, maybe we could do some over there once in a while or something. I don't know.
we can. Was it not saving videos? I forgot.
No, I think we were able to save them. I think maybe we had an issue with it a little bit, but then I think it went back to saving them. It's tough because you do a whole hour and then if it doesn't save, then it's like,
I mean, if you think about it, we could do better because we know we have like multiple devices and like open up another device and just like, have so
recording.
whatever device you're doing it on and have the extra one and that extra one would be on the gram and then the one that we're working on would be on whatever platform, Facebook in this case.
Yeah.
If
I,
we really wanted to with the
I mean, it works pretty good on Facebook. If this is
see,
working, like, just keep it here.
that's
I
where
mean,
we end up
Instagram,
at.
it might be fun to do a shorter one over there once in a while because I think we do get more engagement on Instagram, like more people
Yes,
engage in our videos, which is nice.
yes.
But, and maybe we just do like shorter ones so that if it doesn't save, it's like, oh well, and if it's not, you know, a
I
big,
should be doing the double device thing because I wouldn't want to like cut them short or have to do extra when
yeah.
we can do a whole
But you
hour
can't,
for
if you
them as
do
well
it that
too.
way, you can't see both of us, right? Like your clients would just see you recording and hear you recording. They wouldn't be able to see both of us on video.
Yeah, because you have another device. We'll just turn off, like you would just have to turn off the feedback.
Oh, so you've got Instagram running too, and just like
Yeah, you'd
turn
be
the
doing
volume
this,
or
but on
whatever.
another device on Instagram.
Right, and turning the volume down. Yeah,
Hmm.
okay.
Yeah. And even then you don't have to turn the volume down unless you do because there might be
Echo.
interference as far as
Right.
like how the video's loading and stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean technically we could do that if we really wanted to.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe one day we'll try that.
Okay.
But for the next week, we'll just stick with Facebook and get this other
Oh, yeah.
this live up there. And
All
so,
right. We
all right,
alternate pages, so see you guys on my Orlando page next Thursday.
family canine training. So they
I'm
don't.
like, I had to think about it. I'm like, yeah,
Well, because a lot of my clients don't know your page or
oh,
new
that's right.
new people that watch my stuff may not know who you are. So it's family K9 training.
Mine are funny. He's like, yeah, with that girl. I'm like, oh yeah, Katie.
Oh, that girl. Oh,
Yeah,
that's,
because people watch it and they're like, oh, when you do the lives with that girl.
yeah. Yeah, I've had a
I
lot of
laugh every
people, I
time.
think, from your area, like, like my page and stuff too. So
That's
they
awesome.
see it. So,
All
all right.
right.
Well, have a good night, Denise. What were
Do
you
I forgot what I was gonna tell you. Uh,
Okay.
I,
Well, if you
I
think,
lost it.
I'm
Okay.
sorry. All right. Have a good night.
Night.
Take care.